What's up everyone? Clark Glassford, founder of My Practice Interview, where we help you land your dream job. And today we're talking about how to prepare for and answer any interview question that's thrown your way in an interview. There's so much information out there about how you can prepare and the right approach to preparing, but it's not all consistent. And I want to demystify the way you can approach interview questions and talk specifically about how you prepare using the right formula as part of your preparation. It's really important that you have the right detail, the right specifics, and the right storytelling ability to connect with your interview panel or hiring manager. I can't stress that enough, and there's one specific formula that reigns supreme over anything else you're going to hear out there, and we're going to get into that in a moment. Before we do that, I want you to make sure you check out the links in the description of this video below. There are two videos that I'd like you to go through at the end of this. One talks about the 4 different types of interview questions that you could be asked. Check that out. It goes through the 4 different interview questions that you could be presented with in any interview. Really key that you understand that. And then there's another video on answering behavioral interview questions, which some of you who've been doing your research will come across, and you'll want to know how to respond to those specific questions. So check out those 2 videos. It starts the foundation of your preparation for your interview. And today we're going to talk now about the right formula you use for answering interview questions. So what is the right formula? Well, there's 2 out there. And the common ones you hear is one that's called PAR and one that's called STAR. So sound kind of similar, but they are different, and here's why. PAR stands for problem, action, result. STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. So what's the difference between the 2? Well, when you go to an interview, it's about providing relevant detail to the questions that are being asked and be able to illustrate your skills and experience by telling stories, connecting with the interviewer by telling powerful stories about your background and how you've displayed the skills they're looking for through storytelling. So PAR and STAR are the formulas that you can use for storytelling, but one reigns supreme over the other. And spoiler alert here, I'm going to tell you right now, it's STAR. So PAR is problem, action, result. And a lot of people prepare for interviews using that approach. They think about the skills that they're going to be asked in an interview. They start writing out responses for those skills and questions that are going to be thrown their way. And they prepare in that approach with the problem, action, result. But it falls short. And the reason it falls short is because it lacks key detail. And I'm going to explain this by giving an example. So if I'm a computer technician and I'm applying for a computer technician role, which is going to require me to work with customers, frontline customers, and dealing with customers all the time. If I approach with PAR, and if I'm asked a question, tell me about a time you dealt with an irate customer. Here's how I could respond using PAR. The problem was I had a customer who was irate. They called in, they're having problems with their computer systems, and they needed a quick response from my team. So the action I took was I listened to their concerns. I was able to diagnose what the problem was, and the result was we fixed it quickly, the customer's happy, and end of story. So sounds okay, and I'm breaking that down very simply just to illustrate. With STAR, the difference here is the problem becomes the situation, which is more or less the same, but we're adding in task. Action, result are the same, but task is the additional piece. And it's the additional piece of detail that myself as an interviewer are going to want to hear from you. We're going to want to hear your thought process as to why you needed to take the action you took to deal with the customer's issue. So if I ask the same question, tell me about a time you dealt with an irate customer, my response using STAR would be the situation was I had a client call in, very irate, their systems were down and they needed frontline customer support. The task was, this was a key customer to our business. They had been having issues with this particular system for quite some time, and the reason they were so irate is because it wasn't getting resolved. So the task I had to take was really determining what the problem was and fixing it once and for all. The action I took was I listened to the customer, I took down detailed notes as to what the issue was, I went and did some research, figured out exactly what the specific problem was and how to fix it once and for all, And I did just that. The result was the customer was very, very pleased with the way I dealt with it, the fact that their issue had been resolved, and they stayed as a customer with us going forward. That is STAR. And it's using that task piece to illustrate a key piece of detail, which is your thought process into why you took the steps you did to address the problem that was presented before you. And that's how you respond to the various interview questions by storytelling and using that STAR technique. So like I said in the beginning, if you're doing research on interviewing, you're going to hear STAR is one way to prepare, PAR is another way to prepare, and I'm telling you right now, STAR is the only way to prepare and making sure you have the right level of detail, the right specifics to connect with your audience and get hired by that hiring manager because you're telling powerful stories. So use STAR every time, and here's my insider tip, and I tell this to all clients. As you're preparing, one of the things you're going to want to do is look at the job posting, and in that job posting, you're going to see skills that they're looking for. There'll be their technical skills or those soft skills, or the behavioral type skills, so things like decision-making, communication skills, leadership skills, whatever those are. Start thinking of examples that you can use to illustrate how you've demonstrated those skills in the past, and then apply the STAR technique to your answers. So once you've come up with a scenario in your mind as to how you think you'd like to use an example in that interview, then apply STAR. And what I do is I take a pen and paper, write STAR down the left margin, STAR, and then just in bullet point, I write, okay, here's the situation, here's the task, here's the action, here's the result. And that's what starts getting my answer into that formula and into that way of telling stories. Because not everybody is great at storytelling. They're just not. But if you get into the habit of preparing for your interview, using the technique that I just described there, it's a powerful way of getting your preparation down, being able to tell powerful stories, even if you're not the greatest storyteller. So use STAR, use that insider tip that I just gave you there. Hope you enjoyed the video. As always, check below. There's our free ebook, My Practice Interview, step-by-step approach to how you can prepare for your interview. Included in the links is our Interview Accelerator workshop. Fabulous, fabulous workshop that gives you everything you need to know about preparing for job interviews, writing your resume, preparing for the different types of questions that you can be asked, and how to specifically answer those questions, and then how to avoid all the landmines and pitfalls and all the little mistakes that applicants make along the way, so that at the end of the day, you're hearing you're hired. So check out those two links. Also look at our YouTube channel, you'll see a link there. Lots of videos on YouTube on how to prepare for your interview. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and like I always say, happy interviewing.